The text came in at 3:47 p.m. on a Wednesday, 4 days before Thanksgiving. I was in my downtown Vancouver office, the kind with floor-ceiling glass and a view of the harbor, the kind my late wife used to tease me about. "You look like you're running a spy agency," Marlene would say, smiling as she fixed my tie. I wasn't running a spy agency. I was a portfolio manager with 30 years of quiet numbers behind me. I understood markets, risk, and long timelines. I understood how small choices repeated every month turned into lives. I did not understand the message that lit up my phone. "Dad, this year we're celebrating Thanksgiving just as a family. You're not invited." For a second, I sat perfectly still, as if movement might change the sentence. Then I read it again. Same words, same blunt certainty. Just as a family. I was his father. My hands were steady, but my chest tightened the way it used to when I got bad news in the hospital. I put the phone down beside my keyboard, then picked it up again like I couldn't help myself. My son's name, Ethan, sat at the top of the thread with his profile photo. Him, my daughter-in-law Lauren, and the kids at a pumpkin patch last year. Everyone in matching flannel. Everyone smiling. A typing bubble appeared, not from Ethan, from Lauren. "Maybe someday you'll earn the right to sit at our table, Graham. Not this year." My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. Earn the right. 8 years earlier, I'd stood at Marlene's grave in Burnaby, fingers numb in the autumn rain, promising I would be both mother and father to Ethan if that's what it took. I had promised Ethan I would help, not because he needed money, he had a decent job in tech sales, but because grief had left him hollow and angry, and I thought support would keep him close. I had been wrong about how support could rot into entitlement. My office door opened a crack. "Graham?" It was my assistant, Nia, coat already on, tote over her shoulder. "I'm heading out. Happy Thanksgiving weekend." I looked up, assembled the professional face that had served me in boardrooms and funerals. "Happy Thanksgiving, Nia. Drive safe." She smiled and disappeared. A moment later, I heard the elevator. The floor went quiet. I opened the thread again and scrolled up. Months of normal family chatter, photos of the kids, emojis, requests, and my own short replies. "Could you cover the tuition this term? It's due Friday. Can you help with the property tax installment? The city increased it. The SUV needs new tires, the winter kind, the good kind. The kids' safety." My replies were always the same. "Of course, no problem. Send me the invoice." I hadn't set out to become an ATM. I'd set out to become dependable. The line between the two turned out to be thinner than paper. I locked my phone, set it face down, and opened the folder on my computer labeled Trust, Marcus Family. My name is Graham Marcus. The trust was my wife's idea, created when she got her diagnosis, when we still thought planning could soften the blow. "Make it automatic," Marlene had said from her hospital bed, fingers laced with mine. "So there's no fighting. So Ethan never has to beg. So the kids have something even if you get tired. Automatic, clean, predictable." I clicked into the trust dashboard. The monthly distribution schedule sat there like a heartbeat. $6,500 on the first of every month to Ethan and Lauren. An additional set of authorized payments, private school tuition, a property management line item for the house, insurance, and a living expenses credit card that the trust paid down. My mouse hovered over the settings. I didn't feel rage the way people imagine rage. I felt a crisp, strange clarity, like a fog lifting. If I wasn't family, then I was a vendor, and I had the right to terminate a contract. I picked up my phone again, turned it face up, and typed with deliberate calm. "Thanks for letting me know. Effective immediately, I'm suspending all automatic trust distributions and authorized payments until we have a formal meeting with council present. Have a good Thanksgiving." I read it twice. No insults, no pleading, no explanation. Send. The read receipts clicked on. Both of them saw it. Within 10 seconds, my phone began to ring. Ethan. I watched it vibrate on the desk, the screen flashing his name, and I did not pick up. I didn't want a conversation. I wanted a record. I wanted everything to be on paper. The ringing stopped. It started again. Lauren. Then Ethan again. Then a private number. Then a call from my mother-in-law, June, whom I'd stayed close with after Marlene died. Then another. Then another. I turned off the ringer and set the phone beside my keyboard where I could see the light blink without hearing it. In the trust dashboard, I clicked Suspend. A warning popped up. Suspending distributions will affect beneficiaries. Confirm? Confirm. Then I clicked through the authorized payments list and revoked each one. Tuition, insurance, credit card payoff, the property management account that had been paying the mortgage, taxes, and utilities on a house in North Vancouver that technically belonged to the trust. Each click felt less like revenge and more like turning off a machine that had been running too long without supervision. I saved the confirmation receipts, exported a PDF of the changes, and emailed them to myself and to my lawyer, Sonia Patel, with one sentence. Need an urgent consult. Possible breach of trust duties by beneficiaries. Please advise. By the time I packed up and left the office, it was dark outside. Rain traced thin lines down the glass of the building lobby. I took the elevator to the parkade and drove home through wet streets and holiday traffic, my phone lighting up every 30 seconds in the cup holder. When I got to my condo in Yaletown, I put my bag down, took off my shoes, and finally looked at the notifications. 95 missed calls, 40-something texts, most from Ethan. Dad, answer. What did you do? Lauren's freaking out. This is messed up. We were just trying to keep it small. You can't punish the kids. Please, Dad. There were also messages from Lauren. You're abusing your power. This is financial control. You're going to regret this. The kids are crying. Call me. A dozen messages from June, worried and confused. I didn't respond to any of them. I poured myself a small glass of whiskey and stood by the window, looking at the city lights and the dark water. It wasn't lonely. It was quiet. There's a difference. The next morning, Thursday, my lawyer called at 8:12 a.m. Graham, Sonia said, voice brisk. I saw your email. Tell me everything, start from the text. I told her. The exclusion, the earn the right, the payments, the immediate calls. Sonia's silence held for a beat. Then, good, you acted carefully. Do not take calls. Do not argue. We'll treat this like any other dispute. It's my son, I said. It's your duty, she corrected gently. You're trustee. Your first obligation is to the trust and to the terms Marlene set, not to Ethan's feelings, not to Lauren's lifestyle. That sentence landed like a weight and a relief at the same time. Here's what we do, Sonia continued. We freeze distributions formally under a trustee discretion review. We request full accounting of expenditures tied to Ethan and Lauren, and we hire a forensic accountant. If there's nothing wrong, you can resume in a controlled way. If there is something wrong, you protect the trust. A forensic accountant, I repeated. Yes, because people who feel entitled don't just get rude, they get creative. I closed my eyes. Okay. Also, she added, we need to review the property held in trust, the North Van house. Who's living there, what agreements exist, whether there's any lease. There's no lease, I said, hearing how foolish it sounded. Then we draft one, or we serve notice, she said, because if the relationship has turned this hostile, you need legal boundaries. After the call, I opened the trust statements again, not as a father, but as a trustee. I printed every page for the last 2 years and spread them across my dining table like maps. At first, it looked normal. Tuition, insurance, utility payments. Then I noticed a vendor name I didn't recognize. Lark Consulting Group. 3 payments in the last 6 months. $9,800, $7,450, $12,200. My stomach tightened. I Googled the name and found a bare-bones website with a vague mission statement and stock photos of smiling professionals. The contact email led to a Gmail address. No office address, no listed staff. I clicked deeper into the trust's transaction details. The payments were authorized as Strategic Family Planning and Administrative Support. Administrative support. My own hands went cold. A second oddity appeared 2 lines down. A monthly interest payment, small but steady, titled Credit Facility Interest, RBC. The trust wasn't supposed to have a credit facility. Marlene hated debt. She'd insisted the trust remain conservative, fully funded, boring. I logged into the trust's banking portal and pulled the documents list. There it was. A line of credit secured against the trust property. Opened 9 months earlier. Authorized signature, Graham Marcus. But I had never signed it. The forged signature on the PDF looked like mine in the way a child's drawing looks like a dog, close enough to fool someone who doesn't really know dogs. My whiskey glass sat untouched beside the papers. My appetite vanished. I called Sonia back immediately. "There's a line of credit," I said. "I didn't open it." Her voice changed, sharper, more focused. "Send me the document, now. And Graham, do not tell Ethan or Lauren you found this." "Why not?" "Because if there's fraud, the moment they know you know, they move money and rewrite stories." "You want the truth while it still exists." I forwarded the PDF and the transaction list. Then I sat at my table, staring at the rain-streaked windows, hearing Marlene's voice in my head. "Make it automatic so there's no fighting." Marlene hadn't anticipated theft. Marlene had believed family would behave like family. My Friday afternoon, Sonia had set a meeting. Not with Ethan. With me, the banker, and the forensic accountant she recommended. Daniel Cho, a calm man in his 40s with a quiet voice and eyes that missed nothing. We met in a small conference room at Sonia's office near Burrard. Daniel spread the documents out, scanned them, and asked questions the way surgeons ask questions. Precise, unemotional. "Where do you store your wet ink signatures?" he asked. "I don't," I admitted. "Most things are digital now." "Do Ethan or Lauren have access to your email?" he asked. "No." "Any old shared passwords? Any family iPad logged into your accounts?" he asked. I thought of the Christmas after Marlene died, when I'd handed Ethan my spare laptop because his had crashed. I'd been generous. I'd been careless. "I may have," I said quietly. "Years ago." Daniel nodded as if that explained the universe. "Okay. Would assume access happened through a device you trusted." Sonia leaned forward. "Can we freeze the line of credit?" "The bank can if fraud is suspected," Daniel said. "But they'll require a police file number or a formal fraud affidavit." Sonia looked at me. "Graham, are you ready to treat this as a crime?" My throat tightened. "It's my son." "It may not be your son," Daniel said gently. "It may be your daughter-in-law or someone else. But the signature isn't yours, and the trust is being leveraged. If you don't act, you could be personally liable for negligence as trustee." I stared down at the forged signature again. My name, twisted into a caricature. I heard myself say, "Yes." We filed the fraud affidavit that day. The bank froze the credit facility pending investigation. Daniel requested full audit access. Sonia drafted formal letters to Ethan and Lauren. All distributions suspended pending compliance with an accounting review. Please provide a complete list of expenses, invoices, and any third-party agreements executed on behalf of the trust. I didn't call Ethan. I didn't text him. I didn't argue. On Saturday morning, I woke to pounding on my condo door. I checked the camera feed. Ethan and Lauren stood in the hallway. Ethan's face was pale, his eyes red. Lauren stood with her arms crossed, jaw clenched, the way she looked when she thought she could win by force of will. I didn't open the door. Ethan knocked again, softer. Then Lauren leaned toward the camera. "Graham," she said, voice sharp. "Open up. You can't hide. This is abusive." I said nothing. "Dad," Ethan called, his voice cracking. "Please, just talk to me." Lauren hissed something at him, then knocked harder. "We have rights, you hear me? You can't just cut us off. The kids." I watched them for 8 minutes. Then they left, fast, like people who'd realized their show wasn't getting the audience they wanted. My phone rang an hour later. June. I answered because June wasn't part of their machine. "Graham," she said, breathless. "What is going on? Ethan says you've frozen the trust. They're saying you're trying to control them." "I'm trying to protect it," I said. "Protect it from what?" she asked, confused. I paused. June loved Ethan. She was Marlene's mother. She deserved the truth, but not the whole truth yet. Not before I had proof. "I found irregularities," I said carefully. "I'm investigating. I'm not discussing it with them directly." June's breath hitched. "Irregularities like what?" "Like money moving in ways Marlene didn't intend," I said. "And being told I need to earn the right to sit at my own family's table." Silence. Then a sharp inhale, like pain. "Oh, Graham," she whispered.
"She said that?"
"Yes."
June's voice softened.
"Marlene would have been furious."
"I know," I said, and my own voice broke slightly at Marlene's name. June sighed.
"What do you need from me?"
"Nothing," I said. "Just don't let them use you to pressure me. If they've done nothing wrong, the audit will show it. If they have, I have to act."
"I understand,"
June said quietly.
"I don't like it, but I understand."
On Monday morning, Daniel emailed me a preliminary findings memo. "Graham, initial review shows repeated payments to entity Lark Consulting Group. Corporate registry search indicates entity created by Lauren E. Carter, your DIL, 9 months ago. No evidence of services rendered. Additionally, trust credit facility drawdowns coincide with these payments. Suggest immediate legal action to prevent dissipation of assets. Recommend preserving digital evidence and pulling device access logs." Lauren had created a company and paid herself from my wife's trust. A father's denial is a stubborn thing. Even with evidence in front of me, my mind tried to soften it. Maybe Ethan didn't know. Maybe Lauren convinced him it was legitimate. Maybe... Then Daniel attached a second document. Email forwarding logs from the trust admin account. They showed someone had requested password resets using an old recovery email, an email Ethan once had access to. The truth didn't care about my maybes. That afternoon, Sonia and I met again. She didn't waste words. "Graham, we file a civil claim to recover funds and we pursue criminal fraud through police," she said. "And we address the property issue now. They are living in a house owned by the trust, no lease, no rent. If we don't formalize that, it becomes another vulnerability." "What does that mean?" I asked, though I already knew.
"It means we give them notice," she said. 30 days to vacate or sign a formal lease with fair market rent and terms. And given the fraud, I recommend vacate."
The word vacate looked ugly in my mind. Evict. "It's October," I said quietly. "Right before Christmas season." "It's also the moment you stop the bleeding," Sonia said. "Fraud doesn't become kinder because it's close to holidays." On Wednesday, Sonia sent the formal notice, couriered, signature required. By Thursday, the smear campaign began. Lauren posted on Facebook, public, dramatic. "My father-in-law is trying to make us homeless before the holidays. He's freezing our family trust and calling us criminals. We have 2 small children. Please pray for us." Comments poured in. People who'd never met me calling me cruel. Boomers are heartless. Those poor kids. Family is everything. My phone buzzed with messages from acquaintances. "Is this true? What's going on? I didn't know you were like that." I didn't respond publicly. Sonia told me not to. Daniel told me not to. Instead, I created a folder on my desktop. Evidence. I saved the Thanksgiving texts. I saved the trust statements. I saved Daniel's memo. I saved screenshots of Lauren's post. I learned to treat my life like a case file. That weekend, Ethan emailed me. Subject, Dad, please. I opened it once, read it slowly. Dad, I don't know why you're doing this. We never meant to exclude you. It was just easier this year. Lauren's stressed. The kids are stressed. And now you're threatening us with lawyers? You know I can't handle this. Please, just talk to me. We can fix it. He didn't mention the line of credit. He didn't mention Lark Consulting. Either he didn't know or he was pretending not to. Sonia advised, do not respond directly. Anything you say becomes leverage. Let counsel handle communication. So I archived Ethan's email, not deleted. Archived. On Monday, a detective called. Mr. Marcus, Detective Singh, Vancouver Police. We received a fraud report from RBC connected to a family trust. I'd like to ask you some questions. I agreed to meet the next day at Sonia's office. Daniel joined.
We laid out the documents like we were presenting an investment strategy, except this time the risk wasn't market volatility. It was betrayal. Detective Singh was professional, not dramatic. He asked about device access, passwords, whether I'd ever signed anything for Ethan and Lauren. I signed school forms, I said. I signed birthday cards, not a credit facility. Singh nodded, made notes. This appears like identity misuse. We'll request bank records and digital logs. Please do not confront the suspects. I won't, I said. I'm done with confrontations. When Ethan and Lauren received the notice, they stopped calling me directly. They started sending intermediaries. First, June tried once more, gently, not to pressure, but to understand. I told her the audit found fraud and that police were involved. She cried. Then she got angry, not at me, but at the idea that Marlene's money, Marlene's careful planning, was being used like a personal slush fund. Then, Ethan's friend Mark called, a guy I'd taught to drive when they were teenagers. He left a voicemail. Graham, please, man, they're scared. Then Lauren's brother showed up at my condo lobby, demanding to talk. Security escorted him out. Then came the children. On a Tuesday night, my phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. A photo loaded. My grandchildren, Ava and Noah, sitting on a couch, faces sad in that stiff way kids look when an adult tells them to look upset. Ava held a stuffed rabbit. Noah's lower lip was pushed out as if he'd been coached. Under the photo, a caption. They keep asking why Grandpa doesn't love them. My throat tightened. The urge to reply was immediate and visceral, like reaching to catch a falling glass. It would be so easy to write, I love you, I'm sorry, it's not your fault. But I understood what that message really was. A hook. If I bit, the line would go tight and I'd be dragged back into the same old water. I didn't respond. I saved the photo to the evidence folder. Then I stared at my quiet condo, at the clean countertop, the rain against the windows, and I said out loud, I do love you. I just refuse to be manipulated through you. Sonia had anticipated this. The next day she presented me with a plan that made my chest ache and my mind settle. You can support the children without supporting the adults, she said. We create an education trust, direct pay, direct control. No reimbursements, no cash transfers, tuition and approved expenses only. And we appoint a neutral co-trustee, maybe June. June? I asked. If she's willing, Sonia said. It strengthens your position. It shows this isn't about punishment. It's about boundaries. I thought of June's shaking hands on the phone, her grief-lined face, her love for the kids. Yes, I said. Ask her. June agreed, quietly, sadly, but firmly. We set up the education account within a week. Daniel structured it conservatively, and Sonia drafted terms that could survive court scrutiny. Tuition would be paid directly to the school. No administrative support companies. No vague invoices. No credit facilities. When Ethan learned about it, he emailed again, angry this time. "So you'll pay the school but not help us live? You're humiliating me." I didn't respond. Humiliation is what happens when a truth hits a person who's built their identity on a lie. By the second week of November, the bank investigation produced more records. Detective Singh called again. "We have confirmation the credit facility was opened using a digitally submitted signature and an IP address traced to a device registered to your son's home," he said. "Additionally, the vendor payments to Lark Consulting were deposited into an account held by your daughter-in-law." My voice came out quiet. "So it's real." "It's real," Singh said. "We'll proceed accordingly." The rest moved with the slow machinery of law. Notices, interviews, paperwork. The kind of process people on social media never see when they pick a villain and cheer. Lauren posted again, escalating. "He's accusing me of fraud because he doesn't like that I set boundaries. He's trying to ruin my life." Her friends shared it. People I'd once shaken hands with at Ethan's wedding commented about narcissistic fathers. I didn't correct them. I didn't defend myself in public. I defended the trust. And I defended the truth. In early December, Sonia served the final move-out order for the North Vancouver house owned by the trust. If they were still inside after 30 days, we could apply for enforcement. Ethan called me from a blocked number on Christmas Eve. I answered because something in me still flinched at the idea of ignoring him on that day. "Dad," he said, voice low, raw. "Lauren says you're doing this to punish her. Is that true?" I held the phone and stared at my Christmas tree, small, modest, a habit more than a celebration. "I'm doing it because the trust was used to take money illegally," I said, "and because you told me I wasn't family." There was a long silence. I heard breathing. Then Ethan said, almost childlike, "I didn't know about the line of credit." I believed him, not because I needed to, but because his voice carried a particular kind of shock that isn't easy to fake. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I swear I didn't know." "If you didn't know," I said, "then you need to ask yourself what else you don't know." He made a sound like a swallowed sob. "What happens now?" "The trust is protected," I said. "The kid's schooling is protected. Your housing is not my responsibility. Your marriage is not my responsibility. Your choices are." "Dad," Ethan's voice cracked. "Are you done with me?" I closed my eyes. The question stabbed deeper than the fraud. "I'm done being used," I said. "I'm not done loving you, but love doesn't mean funding disrespect." He didn't answer. Then the line went dead. I spent Christmas Day at a restaurant on Robson Street that served a holiday menu. I ate quietly, watched the rain blur the lights outside, and felt something close to peace. In January, the house went empty. I didn't go to watch them move. I didn't need the spectacle. Sonia's office received confirmation from the property manager. Keys returned, house vacated, minor damage documented. The trust sold the property in February, quietly, to an investor. The proceeds went back into the trust principal, safer now, less exposed, less sentimental. Lauren was charged in March, not with cinematic handcuffs and shouting, but with documents and court dates and a case file. She tried one last strategy. She filed a complaint accusing me of elder financial abuse, claiming I was controlling and unstable, that I'd been manipulated into paranoia. Detective Singh called me after reviewing it. "Mr. Marcus," he said, professional but warmer now. "We've reviewed the complaint. It does not align with the evidence. No further action is needed on that front." "Thank you," I said. After I hung up, I sat in my quiet condo and let the relief move through me. Not victory, relief, like a fever breaking. Ethan's life changed in ways no trust fund could soften. He took a second job. He sold his car and bought a used Civic. He moved into a smaller rental in Burnaby. He stopped posting online. He stopped calling. June stayed in touch with me. We met for coffee once a month, two people tied together by the same loss and the same children. In late June, June called. "Graham," she said, voice cautious, "Ethan asked me to tell you something." I waited. He says he understands now. He says he's not asking for money. He's not even asking for forgiveness. He just wanted you to know he's trying to be better for Ava and Noah. My throat tightened. "Where are the kids?" I asked. "With me on Saturdays," June said. "Ethan drops them off while he works. He doesn't bring Lauren. She's in Alberta with her sister while the case moves forward." I looked at the rainy skyline. Even in summer, Vancouver carried its gray. "Would it be possible," I asked carefully, "for me to see them at your place? Not as a reconciliation scene, just as their grandfather." June's breath released in a soft sound that might have been relief. "I think that would be good." The following Saturday, I brought a board game, hot chocolate mix, and a small bag of library books I'd picked out. Animals, planets, the kinds of things kids get obsessed with when adults aren't using them as weapons. Ava was 8 now. Noah was 6. When I walked into June's living room, Ava froze. Noah hid behind June's leg. June didn't push. She didn't announce me like a prize. "This is Grandpa Graham," she said gently. "He brought a game if you want to play." Ava's eyes narrowed with the suspicion kids learn too early. "Are you mad at Dad?" I sat on the carpet, slow so I didn't feel towering. "I'm not mad at you," I said. "And I'm not here to talk about adult problems. I'm here because I've missed you." Noah peeked out, eyes wide. We played the game. We argued lightly about rules. We laughed when Noah tried to invent a shortcut. Ava relaxed, inch by inch. Halfway through, Ava looked at me over her cards. "Mom said you hate us." June's face tightened, but she stayed silent. I kept my voice calm. "I don't hate you," I said. "I love you." Sometimes adults say things when they're scared. Sometimes they try to make you choose sides. You don't have to choose. Ava stared at me, searching for cracks. Then she nodded once, like a small judge delivering a temporary verdict. When I left that afternoon, Noah waved shyly. Ava hugged me quickly like she was surprised by her own arms. That night, my phone buzzed with an email. From Ethan. Subject: "I understand now." I opened it. "Dad, I'm not writing to ask for anything. I know I broke something. I didn't see it. I didn't want to see it. When you suspended the trust, I thought you were punishing me. But I get it now. I let Lauren run things because it was easier. Because I didn't want to fight. Because I was used to you fixing problems. I'm fixing my own now. I'm sorry. You don't have to reply. Ethan." I read it twice. My cursor hovered over reply. "Thank you." I typed it. Then I deleted it. Then I typed, "I'm glad you're trying." Deleted that too. Not because he didn't deserve a response, because I was learning something new at 57, something I'd been slow to learn my whole life. You can accept words without rushing to soothe the person who said them. So I saved Ethan's email in the same archive folder I'd created for evidence, and I didn't reply. In August, the Trust's annual statement arrived. Clean, boring, the way Marlene would have wanted. The education account paid tuition directly. The Trust's principal grew quietly in conservative investments. No line of credit, no consulting group, no surprises. On the first Monday of October, Thanksgiving came again. This time, no one texted me to tell me I wasn't invited, because there was no table to be excluded from. There was just my life. June invited me to her house for dinner with Ava and Noah. Ethan would drop them off later after his shift, but he wouldn't stay. June told me that was his choice. He wasn't ready to face me. Or maybe he believed he didn't deserve to. I brought a pumpkin pie from a bakery on Granville Island, the good kind Marlene used to buy. When I walked into June's kitchen, the smell of roasted turkey and sage hit me like a memory. Ava helped set plates. Noah tried to steal marshmallows from the sweet potatoes. June laughed, tired but real. At the table, Ava said, "Grandpa, can you come in my school thing next month?" I looked at June, then back at Ava. "If you want me there," I said, "I'll be there." Noah nodded vigorously. "And my soccer." "I'll try," I said, smiling. Later, when the kids were in the living room, June poured me tea and sat across from me. "Marlene would be proud of you," she said quietly. I swallowed. "I don't know," I admitted. "Sometimes it still feels like I failed." June reached across the table and took my hand, her grip warm and firm. "You didn't fail," she said. "You stopped enabling. You protected what she built. You protected the children. And you protected yourself." Outside, rain tapped softly at the windows. Vancouver did what Vancouver does. The city kept moving, indifferent to family drama, indifferent to grief, indifferent to the quiet decisions that change a life. I watched Ava and Noah on the floor, building something out of blocks, arguing, laughing, then starting again. Children don't need perfection. They need steady. And for the first time in years, steadiness didn't mean money. It meant boundaries. It meant truth. It meant showing up without being used. When Ethan came to pick up the kids, he stayed in the doorway, not stepping inside. He looked thinner, tired, older than his 32 years. His eyes met mine briefly. I nodded once. No anger, no triumph, just acknowledgement. He nodded back. Then he helped Noah into his jacket, lifted Ava's backpack, and left. June closed the door gently and leaned against it. "One step," she said softly. "One step," I agreed. That night I went home to my quiet condo, poured myself tea, and opened the trust statement one more time. Numbers on a page, clean and simple. But behind the numbers was something new. The knowledge that love without respect is not love. It's a transaction. I'd ended the transaction. And in the silence that followed, I'd found my life again. End.